Greetings, salutations, hi-ho. I am driving on I-75 headed back toward Tennessee, and I had a chance to remember a few things that I hadn't thought of kind of since the days I'd been making this trip last year, and I kind of wanted to throw it out there to everyone to have you tell me if any of you had a similar experience to what I'm going to describe, and I probably wouldn't have thought about it or linked it to all this, but I heard a couple other people talking about it in some videos, and it wasn't similar enough to where anybody would make a connection, except for maybe me, but anyway, I remember back when I was in the original house, the one I told you about that I thought I was having a problem with a shadow person or whatever, and it was the time that I was having those awful, horrible bouts of sleep paralysis and stuff. And I really do think this is going to be significant because it never happened to me at any time before that time, and it's never happened to me at any time since that time. And the couple videos that I've heard people talking about things that they noticed at the time that they knew was like the day or the night or the middle of the night that they knew a transition had occurred, and that's when I really got remembering and thinking about it again. And I was trying to think really, really hard and trying to remember if this event that happened this night was before or after the incident that happened with that Sikh guru. But for the life of me, as hard as I try to remember, I can't remember. But anyway, I was sleeping one night, not quite asleep. I don't know if it was 11:30, 12 midnight, 12:30. I don't really remember. And I was just starting to fall asleep in my room and was in that state, twilight sleep, just before you're all the way out, so you're kind of half awake but sleeping. And I remember being in one of my sleep paralysis modes, and all of a sudden I had heard a very, very, very loud noise. And I remember thinking and feeling, and even after then, I could not differentiate whether the noise was like in my head, or whether it was like just outside the back window. There's a road that runs along, and if it was out back on that road, it would have had to have been a super huge, freight tractor, semi-truck that was just barreling down the road and bogging on his cylinders, because this noise was so loud, and for lack of any better way to describe it, it was like a tunnel loud, vibrational, super, super loud, vibrational, shook my head, shook my body, whatever. And I really couldn't tell whether it was just one of the things that was happening during that sleep paralysis issue or what. But I remember being so struck by the exact type of sound it was that I had looked for months and months afterward to see if I could find any sound or sound bite or sound clip that if I digitally altered, that I could recreate that sound, and I hadn't been able to. And then a couple months ago, I came across two unrelated videos, not even about the Mandela effect. One were a series of space videos that I was watching where they had sound bites, recordings of all the individual sounds that each planet and our moon make in our solar system, because they each make a characteristic and unique sound. And I remember thinking when I heard those sounds, two of them sounded very, very similar to this sound that I heard that night. 2.5 years ago or whatever it was when all this started. And that time period was the time, like the blurry overlap time between what I consider, my real life or my old life or whatever my life was, in transition to, all this new stuff. It was during that time that happened, and I heard that noise. And a couple other people had put out videos, at 3 o'clock in the morning, they remember hearing, or what they thought hearing, a really, really loud drone machine flying over their house or apartment. I don't remember which they said. And then a couple months ago, when I was watching one of those, the trumpet call of God type videos, where they always start out the beginning with the large, trumpet call sound. Bashar, I don't remember what the name of that horn is called. But none of those videos or those trumpet sounds ever struck me as anything particularly significant, because they all sounded a little bit different to me. But this one day, oh great, more military trucks. Oh, that brings back memories. But when I watched this one video, there was this sound that came on one of these horns that just blasted so loud, and it was at the same frequency, vibration, whatever, and I recognized that sound instantaneously. I turned right around in the room, ran to the television, and just listened to this sink in, and that was exactly what the sound was like in my head that night. So I, pushed the remote really quickly, trying to find out what the title of the video was, who the channel owner was, so that I could email him and try to find out exactly where he got that sound clip, what was the source of that, because I wanted to know. Anyway, so I want to know if any of you, or all of you, or none of you, if you try to remember, even if you don't know when, everything started for you, if you remember anything along these lines where you had one of these, really loud, vibrational, rumbly thing just going off in your head. So if you do, please comment below, and hopefully I can try to link a few more things together. Until then I'll catch up with you then. Hope everybody's doing okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.